Hi there, it's Ingrid. Today we're going to create this vibrant, colorful card. I was really looking to create as much shine as possible, and you can really see it well there. So why don't we get started? First, we need to actually create our textured piece underneath. And when I say textured, I mean textured in the form of layers. You can see here we have 4 distressings. We have spice marmalade, mustard seed, twisted citron, and peacock feathers. And we're going to start off with our lightest shade, which is the yellow. And then I put down the spice marmalade, a little bit of the twisted citron, and then the peacock feathers. Now this right here is going to be the watercolor smash or watercolor smushing technique. We're going to spritz this with a little bit of a water from a fine mist spritzer, and that's going to give us a base for this piece. Now you can do this several different ways. You can do it like I've done here, or you can layer up one color at a time. The choice is totally up to you. I'm going to actually go through both, but first we're going to lay down, like I said, just almost as if it's a wash of watercolor, a really light undertone to our piece. So I'm just smushing it into the 3 colors because I couldn't really quite stretch it. And then we're going to drag the green over to the blue. You can see, don't worry about it being perfect or anything like that, because we're looking to get as many big drips, and we're going to dry it, and we're going to go through a big process here. This is actually the wrinkle-free distress technique, and what you're really looking to do is, as you're building up your different layers of color, you're really looking to kind of build a little texture in with that. So you see, as I'm drying it, I might want to kind of contain a splotch or a big drip, and trying to dry it so that it has that hard line next to a soft line. You know, that's really the interesting texture that you're looking to build upon. So you're going to see quite a bit of drying, and then adding more drips, more water, cleaning it off, adding more color, doing a little direct to paper, spritzing it, just all different types of things that you can do to help build up this really, really vibrant base of color that's going to act kind of as our stained glass window for this project. So now you can see, as we're adding a little bit of the direct paper here, it's actually giving us kind of like a canvas look. And I really liked how this turned out. This really gave it a lot of texture. And if you look at the close-up pictures on the blog, definitely check out the blog. I have the link in the information box below, but definitely look at those close-up pictures, because you can see this amazing texture that we were able to create just by having something that's wet and then adding a little more dry, and then kind of spritzing it and doing some more. And it was really something that was beautiful, and it added so much character to the mixed media piece, because this whole watercolor part right here with doing the wrinkle-free distress, that in itself, in combination with what helped it to look a little bit more like a canvas, really made the project. So I encourage you, when you're doing yours, to just kind of experiment a little bit. Try direct to paper, and if you don't like it, you can spritz it, and everything, because it's distress, it has that fugitive property. So everything kind of goes back to being muddled back together, which is wonderful. You know, if you do make a mistake, it's very, very forgiving. But I do encourage you to experiment a little bit and try, you know, hard lines, soft lines, big dots, little dots, you know, just kind of play around with it. You'll get the hang of it, and I think you'll really enjoy what you create. It really is an amazing texture that you're able to do with, honestly, just dye-based ink, water, and a heat tool. So we're kind of getting towards the end of our wrinkle-free distress piece, and this piece right here, you can see that the colors are really starting to pop. I was really starting to like the depth that I was getting, and we've kind of completed the blue and the twisted citron, and then the yellow we're working on right now, and then lastly will be the spice marmalade there at the bottom, the orange. And you always want to make sure that these colors kind of overlap with each other. So your yellow should kind of move into the green so that it creates a little bit more of a vibrant hue. The mustard seed is such a bright color. And here you see the spice marmalade, and then when you add some of the mustard seed to the spice marmalade, it just creates a more vibrant orange. It's so pretty. And I don't know if you've noticed that I've been also drying my pieces a little bit on the front and the back. It's quite warped. I mean, this piece really went through the ringer. I ended up running it through the Big Shot just to kind of flatten it out a little bit. And now finally, we're going to add a little bit more of the spice marmalade, a little more of the mustard seed, and some more peacock feathers direct to paper to our project. And this is just really just to kind of punch it up just one last time, and also at the same time give it that kind of textured look. The Twisted Citron was fine. I didn't need to add that. But I really love how all the colors, and with all the dried little quirks that we've created in that character along the way, blended with this whole direct to paper here towards the end. It really had a beautiful depth and character to it. So now that we've created this amazing background, I really love the texture and depth that the dye-based inks brought to this along with the water. We dried it in various layers, and that really helped to build up the character and the interest here that we have going on. I love the direct to paper as well as the soft watercolor mixed together. Just really helps to make this nice and vibrant, and that's really the goal. Now, to make this a little bit more of a mixed media piece, we're going to actually incorporate a little bit of embossing, and this is going to help make this a little shiny, which is the whole point of this particular project, is I'm trying to create a shiny piece. So I'm using this stencil by Tim Holtz, and it's called Lattice Work. And even though it doesn't really go the width, we're going to kind of stretch it a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First off, I need to kind of secure this piece to my work surface here. So I'm just going to add some removable adhesive to the back, just making sure that that doesn't really go anywhere. And then we're going to do quite a bit of the embossing on it. So I'm going to actually just want to make sure that we have all the oils kind of gone. I figured out that I can't get an exact match by just kind of moving this around, shifting it back and forth. Now, I have the option of starting in the center and going outward, and that would probably make it quite matched, but then I would have two seams, and I think I want to try and avoid that. So I'm going to do the best I can here, and I'm just going to actually add this up here where the circles are. I want my pattern to be somewhat the same left and right. So we'll just kind of, and we'll lift that up a little bit. Then we'll just secure that down. Now the one thing I've always learned to do is to just protect my work whenever I have a barrier here, because I don't want anything to kind of touch that. So we're going to take some Versamark ink, and the whole point here is to just get a clear image. I'm just going to smush my pad into my distressed background. And we're going to lift the stencil and the mask, and we'll just plop this into some clear embossing powder. And you can kind of see your pattern here. Now I don't want any powder to go beyond that right at this moment. We just want it to be there, and we just want to see that outline. So we're going to go ahead and dry that now, heat set it. And this is really going to make this shiny and just kind of really stand out. And you can just kind of lightly see that pattern in there. So you get that beautiful stencil pattern, which gives it a nice subtle look, but at the same time it's really shiny. So now to continue, we're going to make sure that this is down again. We want to make sure that this is dry. And now the trick is to line up. You may have to kind of angle your head a little bit to see where your image is, and I see it now. You just want to have that lined up, and we'll do the same, protect this piece. And basically what I do is I line my pattern up over the other pattern. It's a little hard to see on this particular pattern, but we're going to do the best we can. Now you're going to have a slight overlap up top, but that's okay. There's just no way to avoid that. You can really see the shine here. I mean, look at that. It's a very, very cool pattern, and it's seamless. We do have, well, okay, we do have a seam, and if you look really hard, you can see it. You can see that there's extra embossing powder there, but honestly, by just a first pass, you would never see that. Now, you could leave this alone, and that was my original intention, but I think I want this to kind of stand out a little tiny bit more. I want the pattern to be seen. So I'm gonna take some black soot, and this is Ranger's Black Distress ink, and we're just going to come over our pattern. And anywhere where there's not embossing powder is going to actually drop the ink in. So the embossing powder is actually going to resist this ink, and that will help our pattern to stand out a little bit. And I'm not gonna go crazy dark with this. I just want a light coating, but this will give me enough of a contrast that you'll really see that pattern. We're gonna then come over this with a damp cloth, and that will wipe away any of the black dye ink over the pattern and help the shine to stand out. Now, my cloth is just slightly damp, and I'm just gonna come over the top of this. I don't really want to activate the distress ink that's been dropped in. I'm just trying to wipe my embossed areas clean. So now you have that pattern is a little more visible, and you have a lot of shine there. And that's very cool. I really love that look. It's almost like a stained glass window almost. Very pretty. So to go along with the shiny, I smushed Versamark all over this, and I've just got a little bit of tape here on the back just to kind of help give me a handle. I'm just going to dip this dye by W+9 into some clear embossing powder, and we're going to emboss that so that it has a nice shiny look to it. I'm using my Brutus Monroe embossing powders, which I'm just absolutely in love with. Just gonna take a clean part of my towel and just kind of buff away any of that powder that remains behind, and then cut them down and choose which one I'm gonna put on and map this onto a white card base. And to complete our card, I'm using some reverse tweezers to place down my die cut, which I'm adhering with Ranger's Multi-Medium Matte, and I'm gonna do the same with my little word Christmas, which is from the Everyday Sentiments stamp set by Happy Little Stampers. Also adhering it with same adhesive, and that's a great adhesive because anything oozes out, it dries perfectly clear. We have some fun foam on the back of our card, and that's just gonna really pop our panel up, giving it a little bit more drama and interest to the front. So there you have it. I really love it because by using the black soot and not making it too dark, it almost looks like pewter or like an old silver, and this really looks like a church window. So I chose to go with a Christmas card, believe it or not. I wasn't intending to, but you know what? I thought it was nice and bright and different. I love the texture of the wrinkle-free distress underneath and just that shininess from all the embossing. It's so pretty. It's such a pretty card. So I have a few transitions for you here just to kind of see how the project evolved, and some great close-ups as well. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on this quick little mixed media card. Can't wait to see you in another video soon. If you like this one, make sure to give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want more details, be sure to check out the blog. I have the link below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.